affectionately, Newfies bear thick toppings to a very rugged earth. Plentiful fruit of the sea on the coast, on land bears and moose, something to boast. George Street in St. John's is the party place, stronger than tea, drinks are in kegs or a case. For the eyes, colors red, yellow, blue, green to look, these are the charm homes from a storybook. And for the ears, how you getting on? Come from away? Yes, bye, and on and on. A beloved superintendent overlooks the rock, casting lighthouse rays over this special spot. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. And where are the shlokas that we're supposed to recite?
It's 126 to 31.
Okay, what about Narayan Namaskar? Pradam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam is the very means of conquest. One should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Preshwa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bible, by rendering the service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. Loving service unto the personality of God, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Gyantavrandasya Gyananjana Sharakaya Chakshuram Militanyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Jai. Today we're looking at
Canto 10, chapter 8.
entitled Lord Krishna Shows the Universal Form.
From verse 26 to 31.
26 to 31. Okay? So we're going to do this together, okay? O King, within a very short time, both Ram and Krishna began to walk very easily and go cool on their legs by their own strength, without the need to crawl. Thereafter, Lord Krishna, along with Balaram, began to play with the other children of the cowherd men, thus awakening the transcendental bliss of the cowherd women. Observing the very attractive childish restlessness of Krishna, all the gopis in the neighborhood, to hear about Krishna's activities again and again, would approach Mother Yashoda and speak to her as always. Our dear friend Yashoda, your son sometimes comes to our houses before the milking of the cows and releases the calves. And when the master of the house becomes angry, your son merely smiles. Sometimes he devises some process by which he steals palatable curd, butter, and milk, which he then eats and drinks. When the monkeys assemble, he divises with them. And when the monkeys have their bellies so full that they won't take more, he breaks the pots. Sometimes, if he gets the opportunity to steal butter or milk from a house, he will be angry at the householders, and for his revenge, he will agitate the small children by pinching them. Then, when the children begin crying, Krishna will go away. When the milk and curd are kept high on a swing hanging from the ceiling, and Krishna and Balaram cannot reach it, they arrange to reach it by piling up various planks and turning upside down the mortar for grinding spices. Being quite aware of the contents of a pot, they pick holes in it. While the elderly gopis go about their household affairs, Krishna and Balaram sometimes go into a dark room, brightening the place with the valuable jewels and ornaments on their bodies, and taking advantage of this light by stealing. When Krishna is caught in his naughty activities, the master of the house will say to him, "Oh, you are a thief," and artificially express anger at Krishna. Krishna will then reply, "I am not a thief, you are a thief." Sometimes being angry, Krishna passes urine and stool in a neat, clean place in our houses. But now, our dear friend Yashoda, this expert thief is sitting before you like a very good boy. Sometimes all the gopis would look at Krishna sitting there, his eyes fearful so that his mother would not chase Shasta. And when they saw Krishna's beautiful face, instead of chastising, they would simply look upon his face and enjoy transcendental bliss. Mother Yashoda would mildly smile at all this fun, and she would want to chastise her blessed transcendental child. What happened? The Brahmajyoti came. Okay, so this is text 31, right, that we're doing today? Okay. Well, let's just do the word by word. Are we ready? There's something very wrong. It could be a little hotter in the future, like hot. Okay, evam, in this way. Darshyanti, naughty activities. Ushati, in a neat and clean place. Kurute, sometimes does. Mehana adini, passing stool and urine. Vastau, in our houses. Stay upayahai, and by inventing different devices to steal butter and milk. Virachita kritihi is very expert. Supratikaha is now sitting down here like a very good, well-behaved child. Yata aste, while staying here. Itam, all these topics of conversation. Stribihi, by the gopis. Sabayat Nayana. Just now sitting there with fearful eyes. Strimuka, such a beautiful face. Alokini bihi, by the gopis, who were enjoying the pleasure of seeing. Vyakyata artha, and while complaining against him before Mother Yashoda. Prahasitu mukhi, they were smiling and enjoying. Na, not. He, indeed. Upalabdham, to chastise and threaten. Rather, she enjoyed how Krishna was sitting there as a very good boy. Aichat, she desired. Transcendental. When Krishna is caught, let's do this together. When Krishna is caught in his naughty activities, the master of the house will quote, "Oh, you are a thief," and artificially express anger at Krishna. Krishna will then reply, "I am not a thief, you are a thief." Sometimes, being angry, Krishna passes Yule and Stir and eat houses. But now, our dear friend Yashoda, this expert thief is sitting before you like a very good boy. Sometimes all the gopis would look at Krishna sitting there, his eyes fearful so that his mother would not chastise him. And when they saw Krishna's beautiful face, instead of chastising, they would simply look upon his face and enjoy transcendental bliss. Mother Yashoda would mildly smile at all this, and she would want to chastise her blessed transcendental child. Purport by the devotees of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Yes. Ki Jai. Krishna's business in the neighborhood was not only to steal, but some to pass stool first and urine in a neat, clean house. When caught by the master of the house, would chastise him, saying, "You are a thief." Aside from being a thief in his childhood affairs, Krishna acted as an expert thief when he was young by attracting young girls and enjoying them in the, which one? The rasa dance. This is Krishna's business. He is also violent. He is also violent as the killer of many demons. Although mundane people like nonviolence and other such brilliant qualities, God, the absolute truth, being always the same, is good in all activities, even so-called immoral activities like killing and violence. Krishna is always pure. And he is always the supreme absolute truth. Excuse me. Don't. Okay. Absolute truth. Where do we go? Krishna may do anything supposedly abominable in material life, yet still he is attractive. Therefore, his name is Krishna, meaning okay. This is the platform on which transcendental loving affairs and service are exchanged. Because of the features of Krishna's face, the mothers were so attracted that they could not chastise him. Instead of chastising him, they smiled and enjoyed hearing of Krishna's activities. Thus the gopis remained satisfied, and Krishna enjoyed their happiness. Another name of Krishna is Gopi Jana Vallabha, because he invented such activities to please the gopis. Okay, great. Thank you, Bruce. The chapter is entitled Lord Krishna Shows the Universal Form. What can you show? Okay, that's the question we should ask. God can show the universal form. What can we show? We can just do a miniature version of the universal form, if at best. We can do a dance, we can do some magic tricks, and then people go, ooh, ah, and so on like that. But Krishna does the most amazing things. And while he does amazing things, he can also carry on doing some very naughty things, that young children do. I mean, the things that kind of makes the world go round is children, People are delighted to have children. At least some people are. I think when a society doesn't want kids, and this is the no kidding program, then I think it's just going to hell, to be honest with you. Now, we know that there's some different cultures who approach God in different ways. For some, it's fear. But in some traditions, it's different. It's love. It's charm, right? Aren't we lucky? I understand that Srila Prabhupada was reading in the Krishna book. This is on his own. He was just reading something. And he just, had a realization about the thing that he wrote, and he said, we have the best God. There's a lot of gods out there, but we have the best God. Why? Because of his playfulness, because of his charm, and his, pranks. He was a menace. He was a menace, but in not a major way. That's why people wouldn't go off to chastise him and give him the stick, even though Mother Yashoda had a serious one in her hand. And she meant business, right? But Krishna also means business. And at one point, she realized she couldn't do much with the stick. And the stick is something that's like a warning instrument. When Prabhupada was talking to the devotees about teaching our children, second gen, he said, you can show the stick if somebody's naughty, but don't use it. Right? So the stick has many meanings in our life. We have the dandas, the sannyas danda, which is a stick. And I think I told you all before, in Chicago, we were on a morning walk with Prabhupada, and one cyclist came by, and he said, why are some of you using the sticks and some of you are not? And then Prabhupada said, what did he say? And to Brahmananda, and Brahmananda said, why the dandas, Prabhupada? And Prabhupada's answer was, tell him it is to shoo away the dogs. Okay? So sticks are used for defense purposes, and Mother Yashoda was using her stick to correct Krishna. She had her own correctional services program for her son. And it was pretty standard and regular because Krishna was regularly doing naughty things, some of which we had read about, mixing with the monkeys, pinching the babies, leaving some things behind. Hare Krishna. What would you do if you had God's excrements in your corner of your house? What would you do? What would you do? Preserve, yes. I'd say so. So it would be worshipable, most likely. And all the other little details that are given here. And so there was a lobby. There was a sort of a lobby against Krishna by the villagers, the Brajavasis, and they went to Yashoda. I guess Nanda Maharaj was probably busy doing some agricultural management. But Yashoda was there, and the ladies came like a brigade, charging and saying, what's going on, What's going on with your child? He's a thief, He's a chore, And it was a chore to correct the chore, He is a thief. Now we worship our deities, Radhakir, Chor, Gopinath, and he's also known to be a thief. He steals kheer at night. It's supposed to be a pastime of his. Okay. But it was definitely, what he stole was something to be done on behalf of his devotee, Madhavendra Puri. So whatever Krishna is doing is on behalf of his devotees, honestly. Anything he does. Even the act of killing the Rakshasas, the Asuras, and the demons, and the nonsense people. He comes to this world to deal with that. When we read in chapter 4 of the Gita, where the purposes for Krishna's coming, it's, first of all, he protects the devotees, and he does that through charm, actually, And then he comes to subdue the wrongdoers, puts them in their place. That's the second reason for his coming. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashya chaduskritam dharma sansthapanaraya sambhavami yuge yuge. So he gets people, where there's chaos, he makes peace. And to preserve the peace, dharma is necessary. Dharma means a regulated life. That's what it means. It means to be regular in what you do. You might have a license for some kind of pleasure, but it still has to be regulated. That I think we all experience when it comes to eating. You can eat, but how much, There has to be some regulation. And how often you eat, there should be some regulation there. And all the other things we do, like sleep. Nobody here sleeps that much. Only on Monday and Tuesday. Okay? Where's so-and-so, Prabhu? Oh, he's sleeping. What? It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Right? The day is off. Okay. Yeah, so our whole life is centered around joyful things. Devotional service is joyfully executed. Krishna explains in the Gita, he says that susukam karatum aviyam, yet karashi, how does the verse go? Kama isha, what is it? No, chapter 9, somebody can look it up. Susukam karatum aviyam. It's one of the most difficult verses to memorize. On one of my visits to Cuba, we got the devotees to learn to memorize this verse. And it was just one Rajavijay, Rajaguyam, Pavitram idam uttamam pratya savagamam dharamyam susukam karatum avyayam. Susukam. The last line in there is saying that the Lord is, the service to the Lord, bhakti yoga, is joyfully executed. It's a fun experience. We had one fellow from Cookstown. He came here to do an article, I think it was for the Toronto Star, and he came to our Govardhan Puja celebration, and he wrote in there how it's very celebratory, and and he told me personally, it's a little different from what is used to. Everyone's very stoic and serious, sitting in their chairs and, being very quiet and disciplined and obedient and so on like that. He found that our approach was really just very light and joyful. And at Gaur Purnima, at a festival, I remember Professor Joseph T. O'Connell, who was a great supporter of our movement. He knew Bengali fluently, and he taught Gaudiya Vaishnavism as well as Sikhism to his students. He was I went to greet him, and he was sort of clapping along and singing, and says, "How are you, Professor O'Connell?" I said, "Oh, well, I'm just getting into it, it's just fun. That's what it's all about, isn't it?" Like that. He also joined us the first time I went to India in '78, and there was a lunar eclipse at that time. Rahu had, obscured the moon at night, and the moon was full. Then it went black in just a matter of minutes, and then it opened up again. It was amazing, So we had fun in the Ganga, swimming there. He didn't go in. He had I remember a kurta and yogi pants and everything like that. And but it was nice to see him there, enjoying the fun. So that's what's quite unique about Krishna consciousness. You come to a point where you knock off the seriousness, man. Let's get on with having some fun. And our fun comes in the form of dancing and chanting and everyone's smiling, just like we had upstairs, right? If that was, what it's like. Have you ever been here and there's dancing going on upstairs? Is it going to fall? Ceiling going to come down on me? There's a beautiful bounce to the floor. Yeah, so life should be a little bit like that, in spiritual life especially. That's the scenario. Bouncy, it should be full of joy, people all being like children. I remember at the temple in Vrindavan, people were coming up near Gaur Purnima for the Diwali celebration. And there were these people kind of like middle-aged, and you wouldn't do this in many, many temples, but these people learned from us how to have fun. And I remember two ladies going like this and then doing the swirl. having such a good time, like that. And so that's what it's all about, having fun in Krishna consciousness. Now, I traveled with the youth bus tour for 10 summers in a row, and that's before COVID struck. And on my first visit, I flew down to Miami from Toronto in June, late June. Please don't go there in June or July or August. You're just going to melt into the ground. It's that hot. And we went north. Our first stopover was in Chicago by, Lake Michigan. Oh, finally. There's some air that you could breathe. But I can remember we went to, Manaram took me to a costume shop, and I asked him about, just what does the kids want? He said they just want to have fun in Krishna consciousness. If you can provide fun for them, they'll get locked in. And by the way, speaking of fun, we went to the costume house where they have all kinds of stuff, that's cool, that everybody likes to look. It's full of color and different costumes. So I was in there and I was looking around, and there was a couple. They were looking at me, and the girl was kind of all over the boy. Hey, stop it! Stop, And he said something. There's a monk over there, and she said, "Oh, no, doesn't he work here? He's in a costume, So a lot of fun. So spiritual life should be fun. It really should be, and Krishna teaches us that it should be like that, Now we also know that one of Krishna's avatars is Ramachandra, and he was also quite serious. He was in that mode, He was serious, whereas Krishna was, let's say, more jovial, when you compare the two personalities, And you can say Ram was the epitome of Dharma, whereas Krishna was the epitome of beyond Dharma, dancing in the night in the rasa with the ladies, Of course, somebody can just criticize Krishna for these things, and so, but like I say, sometimes people, they criticize Muhammad. Oh, he was 50 somewhat years old, and he had a wife at 6 years old. What do you call that? Haribol. But when they said, "You're God," people go, "You're God. He was in the night with women already married," and of course they were young girls. But apparently Krishna was before puberty. You had the dance. Before puberty, you know what it's like. You're just kind of innocent, and then when puberty hits, it's, oh my God, there's these explosions, right? So really what we have to consider here is that Krishna cannot be charged for doing, the illicit thing that some people might charge him for. And then when it comes to his theft, his thieving activities, well, he's just stealing his own butter. Belongs to him. Can't criticize him for that. And in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, I am the butter, I am the fire in yajnas, so it's his fire, it's his butter. He's loving himself, I guess you could say. So Krishna can do these things, And it's only because we're a small group. We're not that influential yet at this point. But when we get big in numbers, people are going to point fingers. Oh, look at him, the guy with the flute. Look what he's doing in the middle of the night. So it's a little hard to explain to people the situation. But we will have to. We will have to explain what all this means. To explain what is transcendence, and that God has this ability to transcend, If you drive on the 401 and you're speeding, maybe you're going 140, and then the police are going to come at you. You're not supposed to go 140, and the police will come, they'll step it up. and get there before over 140. Can you do that? No, no. You don't? Okay, whatever. They'll go at high speed, and you can't. Oh, you guys, you're good. You know, so they'll pull you over and they'll give you a real, ticket with a whopper number, figure that you have to pay, and and you be threatened to lose your demerit points, right? But you can't go to the officers. Yeah, but you went faster than me. In order to catch me, to put me to the side, so you should give yourself a ticket. Okay, you can't charge like that. They're allowed to transcend. So Krishna is allowed to go beyond the rules. He is beyond the rules. Rukmini and Krishna had a talk, and Krishna was saying, I think we should just divorce, and he was just teasing. This is the loving God that we're talking about. Or just teasing, and he was doing that, and he said, I think we should just get a divorce, like nobody can figure me out. They don't know if I'm a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. I'm kind of a vagabond. I'm here, I'm there, I'm all over the place, I don't follow any rules. I don't follow Varna, Ashram, Dharma, etc., etc. And Rukmini, when Krishna was talking about separation, she just couldn't handle it, and then she came out of consciousness. Wait a minute. Let's put things in proper perspective, It's true. No one can figure you out. You're unfigure-outable. You are beyond. You're beyond the rules and regulations. No, you're not a Brahmin. You're not Kshatriya. You are the supreme. Like she went on and she put it right. Her analysis was absolutely correct. Her assessment of Krishna was right. Anyways, this is what Krishna has fun. That's the point. God have fun. I think there was a song in the 70s or by one woman. She said, girls just want to have fun. Okay? Do you know that one? Girls just want to have fun. As if they didn't ever before. But girls want to have fun. Boys want to have fun. Everybody wants to have fun. And last thing I'll say before I drop off, I was in Juniata College in Pennsylvania, and I was asked to speak to the religious studies students, and I explained everything about Krishna consciousness. And we had fun getting everyone to sing and dance. Then after the class, the girl with blue hair came, Swami. She says, Swami, I just want to let you know we've studied all the religions. We started with Judaism, and then we went with Christianity, went to Islam, with everything. And everybody's so serious about their God. And then we went to the Hindu section, and we heard about Krishna, and that when he was a young boy, the girls were in the river swimming, and then Krishna took all their clothes and put them in, hold them, said, if you want your clothes, you have to come out and get them from me. And so all the students, this is what the student was telling me, the girl with the blue hair, she was saying, what? What kind of God is this? And the teacher was just making the point, that this is the God of fun. Like it's a different approach altogether from everything else that Buddhism, everything, the students went through everything. And it was an interesting approach, I thought, by the teacher, who happened to be vegetarian too. Yeah. So after we were finished, the students wanted to have some fun too. And so they walked with me and my support team. I think we had Mandala Ram at that time. And what's his name? Vivaswan from Detroit, Michigan. Yeah. So they said, there's a sacred place. We want to have fun. We want to go with you. So it was like the lunch break, and then we went there to have fun. So spiritual life is for fun. There's moments also for being very, let's say, what's the word? Sober. The word Prabhupada uses. Sober. And so we can float from one emotion to the other, but a big component is to have fun. To have fun. And I think that those people who follow different religious traditions, that they don't show that element of joy, I think they really suffer. I really believe that they're not learning the balance of how it should be when it comes to exercising religious practices. That's my conclusion. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Now we can go for questions and answers, and let's take her away. Yeah. Yes.
Maharaj, you mentioned that it's all about having fun in Krishna consciousness, but it's fun sometimes. How do we make it fun all the time?
All the time, singing, dancing, isn't that fun?
But what if we're not?
Study is not as fun. Chanting japa is not as fun. But kirtan is fun. You know? When you do japa, it's more like you're a warrior. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. My mind goes up either. Pull it in. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. It's like it's a little bit of a struggle, isn't it? But the kirtan is for fun, you know. And we can also take it in a serious way, yeah, for sure. But how to always have fun? I think that you look at your god brothers, god sisters, you know, in the room, and you just enjoy each other's company, and it's like being a kid again. You know? Seeing your little brother, baby brother, or your baby sister, and you know they want to have fun. So you can be like a child. Just think, I'm the child of God. I'm God's child. And God was a child, or is a child, and He shows us also how to have fun. So you can think about Krishna's funliness. Is that a word? I don't think so. His frivolity, and that'll get you stoked up. That'll get you excited. Yep. Any other questions, Prabhus? Si, senor.
I want to share this with you, Maharaj, because you shared the story of the moon airmill. We had 4 students coming to our temple when you had gone to Quebec. They were TMU students. And when we told them about Krishna, Mohan Prabhu and myself were showing them the deities. And one thing after the other, they were like, whoa, wow, how is that possible? The
Yeah.
Lord with the lover, blah, blah, blah. And so much so that at the end of it, they were like, can we take pictures here? So they were really happy. They
Yeah.
were surprised.
That's right. When those senior students come, I have a good friend, he was born in the same town as I, but we only got to know each other. Forget his name right now. But every 6 months he brings senior students here. Some of them are retired ministers and some teachers and people, and they're from the U.S. and Canada, and they just have fun. They would just always have fun, and that's what he tells me. Swami, you know, whenever one comes here, they just have a lot of fun. They love the food, fun, food, friends, bunch of F's, you know, and you know, so that's, and there's the food, which is really important. I just came from St. John's, Newfoundland, and they have a temple on Penny Lane Avenue. Does anybody know Penny Lane? Penny Lane? Oh, you guys don't know because you don't know the Beatles. Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes. You can listen to the music, it's fantastic. Penny Lane. So on Penny Lane, the people were so excited because they generally don't have a feast. But the devotees cooked a feast in the basement. But even before that, we got everybody to sing and dance. And, you know, we spoke a little bit about from the Universal Form, actually, chapter 11 from Bhagavad Gita. And because I didn't know what to speak on. And so since it's the 11th month, so we went to the 11th chapter. And we went to the 16th day or whatever it was, and then we looked at that, and so we took that as the license, the universal form So anyways, people were listening, and they were serious, and we also got them to laugh, you know, and that they love when we come, when the devotees come to their temple, where they have two Krishna deities, one at the top and then a little one on the base, you know. So they only have Krishna there. Isn't that neat? And it's part of the Sri Chinmoy mission, that they have Krishna. All right, any other questions? We still have some time. Yes.
Maharaj, apart from shooing away dogs, what is the sannyas danda?
Apart from,
Shooing away the dogs which Prabhupada mentioned.
oh yeah,
What
well-
is sannyas danda?
what is the purpose of the danda?
And
The danda has 4 narrow bamboo sticks in it, and each one of them represents surrender of the body, the mind, words, and the soul. And so they're wrapped up in a cloth, and that's what it represents. It's also, let's say, it makes them distinct from brahmachari servants, and so on like that. And yeah, maybe you might use it for a tiger that's coming down the forest or something. But yeah, it's a well, what shall I say? It's a medal, or it is a status symbol. It actually is a status symbol. Even the time of Jesus, you know, he carried his staff when he was traveling, something like that. So it refers to a holy man. You know, he's got the most simple paraphernalia that you can think of. So for sannyasi, it's a danda and it's a kamandalu, right? And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling through the forest and devotees were concerned, he's all alone, so they decided to give him a servant, you know. And that because the Lord had to chant on his beads, you know, hold his beads, and then there's the danda and the kamandalu. At least somebody would be there to carry his kamandalu, his water pot. And that was one of the reasons why they convinced him to have an assistant. Unfortunately, that assistant trailed off a little bit, and he got connected with some, kind of like, what would you call it, bhattaris, they're called. And they're like a gypsy group that tend to steal, things like that, you know. So even in the presence of God, you can kind of get allured by Maya.
You do that with pranam, but that sannyasi just keep the danda.
Is that?
That with pranam.
Yeah,
Yes.
fall like a stick. If you have a danda, and that's what happened to Rukmini when she fainted. When Krishna said, I think we should divorce, she fell down like a dum-dum. We had one devotee, Shamakund, who was from Poland or something like that, living here, and he would do his dandavats. He just actually did it right on the floor, practically without his hands. In front of the deities. Yes, we're.
So Maharaj, I have observed like when someone took sannyas, they use danda for some time and then they don't carry it with them. Why is it?
Well, in the first, there's 4 stages of sannyas. There's Bahuda, Kudichak, then there's Parivrajacharya, and then there's Paramahamsa. So in the later stages, you may not use them. I used to use the danda all the time, but when I started to travel, especially with with paraphernalia for the dramas like costumes, and I says, I'm not going to take this stick anymore. Yes.
I think Maharaj, it's the hidden desire of everyone. They're just
Yes.
not speaking it. But everyone wants to see you and probably click some pictures of you with the danda. Would
Oh,
that
so
be
that I can,
possible?
if I am allowed to hit you all. Yeah, Okay, is that okay?
Sure.
You don't mind being hit? I mean, you know, I slap the guys in the back, but I don't want to hit the girls. I'll hit the boys, but not the girls. Is that okay?